Alrighty guys, as you bring us another Dragon Ball Legends TOP guide video, hopping in for TOP Season 24. So last season we did end off around 2,200? I want to say somewhere around 2,200. So obviously it's not like the top ranking or anything like that, but we did secure the 1,000 CC, which is the main goal of these videos. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys did secure your top 1,000 CC, even with the extension that they did place for an extra week, and if you guys did use that CC to already go ahead and summon. So that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the segments of the video. As always, there will be timestamps in the description of this video down below, right? So that way you guys can get wherever you need to go. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to be getting into here is our general path, right? So essentially what I do right here is I give you guys my path. You guys can go ahead and screenshot it or whatever, but sometimes I will deviate off of this path depending on how weak my units get, right? Because typically I'll set up the path trying to get as much points as possible. But as you guys do know, sometimes that will get a little bit difficult. Sometimes I'll take a lot of damage, or I'll even lose one of my units, so I'll start taking the easier stages on to kind of supplement that and ease the fact of me like actually losing someone right here, right? And so honestly, I would say in the second half, the only thing that does change right here, because you can see the circled stages are going to be for your every 5th win streak bonus to give you the most points, right? Because those fights are going to yield the most points. The ones that are circled, those are the fights that you need to go ham on. And on the second half of this board right here, you actually see me go for a 4th stage on the 20th win streak bonus right here, right? Just right before the final battle. And the reason for that being is just playing on the left side right here, I think is going to be more valuable than playing on the right side going, because as you can see right here, there's only one 5th stage in that area, and it's all the way to the right. And I mean, I guess you can chase after that, but I just think this is going to be easier overall, and it's just going to be safer. Alright, so before we get into the teams, I usually like to put in 2 teams, right? I like to put like my own crafted version and then a version that I have seen on the leaderboard. But for this one in particular, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, when I try to go to the leaderboards, it just freezes on me right here. Right, no matter how long I wait, when I try to actually pull up these leaderboards, it'll just hit me with the connecting infinitely until I actually I have to reset the app every single time I go through this. Alright, so now that we talked about paths, let's go ahead and talk about our top 5 teams for this season. So this is going to be the first team we talk about is Regeneration. This is the team that I basically use every single season, right? Just with very few variations, right? Just very few variations. Last season we switched it up a little bit. We did bring in the Super Baby, or well, just the Baby Vegeta, not the Super Baby. But this season we're going back to the yellow Piccolos right here, right? And because these guys are back in Z tier, right, where they truly belong right here. So, you know, Regen was kind of down bad a little bit last season in terms of points, right? They were still safe in my opinion, but they were a little bit down bad. Now that since pretty much all of them are back in Z tier right here, well, the main ones that I use anyways, they're back in Z tier. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this team is even better. Right, it's even better. You guys are going to have, personally, I don't think you guys are going to have an issue with it. A lot of questions that I do get, or the one question that I do get asked a lot is who is going to be a replacement for this LF Piccolo, right? Because if you do replace him, you are going to be missing out on a lot of damage because he does get that guaranteed blue card. But I see a lot of people who don't have him have a great amount of success with this Demon King Piccolo right here, right? Once you get him Zenkite and all that good stuff, he will be a monster of his own right. Right, I think he's honestly pretty good because he also has the ability to heal himself right here, right? At the end of each turn, restore his own health by 2%, and he inflicts poison. He's going to do a hefty amount of damage right here. I would only bring him in if you have him at Zenkai 7 though, right? That's the one thing. And if not him, then you definitely can opt in for Cell, right? This Cell right here, perfect one. But I would only bring him in if you have him above Red Star 3. Right, because anything lower than that, I really think that it might be a little bit of an uphill battle. Either way, I would say this guy's the last option, but if you have the Zenkai DKP, then bring in the Zenkai DKP. Overall, I think for this season, the main colors that you want are going to be your greens, your reds, and your yellows. Right, so you can see right here, I have 2 yellows, I have 2 greens, and I have 2 reds, right? And then I have just the supplementing colors right here with the blue tanks, and then with the purple Janemba. I am a big fan of this purple Janemba. He always resides in around the Z tier area. I think he's pretty good. I know some of you guys think he's a little bit more mediocre. That's okay too, but I just really like the fact that he can mitigate damage. He does have the Zenkai stats to go ahead and help him out a little bit right here. And then you do see me dip into S tier for this Fat Boo for the extra heals. Not only is he going to give me these extra heals depending on where he's at, you can see right here, he's going to be healing to the left of him and to the right of him. He's also going to be providing Zenkai buffs for this cell right here. So another unit that I know some of you guys may think is mid, but I really do appreciate him for the extra high key restore speed. He has it at 2,620. That's only at friendship rank 5. I am going to try to build up his friendship rank this season to all the way up to 10, right? I think it's going to help out a lot. And then another unit that I am using from S tier is this Omega Shinron. Every single one of you guys should have this guy, man. He is so damn good, especially for ToP. He's probably like one of my favorite red units right here. He does have a healing property once he gets below 50% HP, and I just think he's extremely tanky, and his key restore speed, that is really what I like. If they have a high key restore speed, they already kind of get like a passing grade, right? Like that guarantees them, like, I feel like if you were to put him on like on a tier list, if you have like over 2,600, I think that guarantees you like a C tier spot. But let me know in the comments down below if you guys need any other replacements. For a red specifically, you have this free-to-play 21 who also she boasts an incredibly high key restore speed as well. The only thing about her is that she doesn't really have any way to heal herself. Alright, so the next team we're going to be talking about is Sun Family. So they just got a new addition, and I think this is going to be a good time to talk about him right now. Is the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Kaioken Goku, the Ultra one, right? So let's go ahead and so first of all, let's go ahead and look at his key restore speed. This is at the minimum. We're not going to look at the maximum because this is an extremely hard unit to pull right here, right? So at minimum, at 5 stars, at friendship rank 1, he already boasts 2,594 key restore speed. Immediately, right off rip, that is extremely good. Extremely good. Let's go into his kit now. He already does so much, 80% to damage inflicted right at the start, minus 20% to damage received, and 100 to key recovery. Right, cannot be canceled just at the start of the battle. So he's almost hitting 2,700 key recovery right off rip. And then on a strike or blast arts hit, right, you have a 30% chance to follow it up. Every other character that has this ability usually only has it at 20% to follow up. So the extra 10% is nice. It's not necessarily broken or anything like that, but it is nice. It's not something you can rely on, right? The next ability though, he has a cover change, and these cover changes are kind of weird, especially when they're restricted by a health condition, right? Your health has to be 30% or lower for this to actually activate, and these abilities are more so effective on the enemy side rather than on your own side, right? Because for the most part, you don't really want your units to be getting to that threshold in health, right? But you're always going to see your opponents getting below that threshold, right? Because you're going to be ideally just going through their HP bars, right? So I mean, it's nice nonetheless. So but at the start of the second turn, you activate your green card, right? So before we get into the start of the third turn, this is what his green card does. So once he activates that green card, he restores health by 5%. Amazing. Then he gets 20% to damage inflicted, so now he's breaking 100% to damage inflicted. He gets another 40 to key recovery, and he gets 15% to special move gauge. That may not seem like a lot, but it's definitely going to add up. Especially when and then he also has his bonus at the start of the third turn. If your own health is 50% or below, you'll activate another green card, getting all of those effects once again and upgrading your special move arts for free. I think he's really solid. I don't think he's as good as the Blue Boys or as the Ultra Gogeta for this game mode, but he is still damn good nonetheless, and he is in Z tier probably for this season only, right? I would say probably for this season only, so people are going to be taking advantage of that. His Ultra ability, you get 15% flat to your special move damage inflicted for all of your allies. You can see it covers the entire board. He also gets extra buffs per allied episode Universe Survival Saga. I don't think that team is necessarily all that great just yet, but I do imagine we'll see some creative teams, like especially with the red Kale, the green Kaba, maybe even the droids, right? The Universal Survival Saga droids, who are usually in Z tier, the Blue 8 Tracksuit 18 and the MVP 17, right? He only buffs God Key and Universal Survival Saga, so you might be missing out on a couple of Z ability buffs right there, but I think this team is more than fine, right? This is probably like one of the best teams in the game, if not the best team in the game, right? Just Sun Family in general. Maybe not necessarily this setup right here, but just the team overall, right? Because this Goten, he gets a guaranteed super attack, right? This one, and his key restore speed is absolutely insane, getting like 2,647 right there. And then this Gohan being absolute, these two probably have the best synergy in the entire game mode, like of ToP right here. He takes every single attack, applies buff effect, enemies focus on this character for an entire turn, for a turn 1, and then you have the healers. You have multiple healer options for this team, right? Starting from the best, I think it does have to be this cooler movie Goku, right? Just because he is Sun Family, he doesn't buff Sun Family necessarily, but he does buff sagas from the movies or tag Saiyan. So his radius is whenever you get hit, right? Whenever you get an attack, you will restore the health of allies in range by 3%. That includes his own tile. So you're healing 4 people with that 3% of 2 times, so it's 6% total. That's pretty damn good. And then the next best healer I would say is this Green Goku, and you'll see them ran together. Like when you look at teams like this, you'll see them getting ran together right here, right? He only has one unique ability right here, but at the start of the second turn, allies in range, he restores their health by 5% plus 15% to damage inflicted. That's going to be on your left or your right here. It's really helpful. And he actually is going to be probably tied with the next unit. Not necessarily better than the next unit, but I would say tied. And that next unit being Android 18. This was the OG healer for this team, right? And so she has an indiscriminate heal where at the end of the turn, she heals allies in range by 3% every single turn. That's why I say she's tied with the Goku, right? Because the Goku might be getting all of the buffs from the Sun Family units and stuff like that, while this 18 will be getting none. But she does have a 3% heal every single turn, as well as buffing the damage. And for your last healer, or well, maybe not the last healer, there's probably someone that I'm missing right here, but I think the next best thing after those 3 is this Angel Vegeta, who does have a board-wide heal. At the start of the third turn, restores health by 3% and 25% to damage inflicted. It starts a little bit late, right? Like I said, it's at the third turn, but it's still a board-wide heal for 3%. That's really, really solid. He's still going to be getting some of those Saiyan buffs because of all the Goku units on there. Overall, though, with all of your super attacks right here, guaranteed super attacks, with all of your healing, with all of your tanking, it's no wonder why this team is just so damn dominant when you're actually playing it yourself, and then also why it's so dominant on the field. You see it everywhere on the board right here, right? Everyone uses this team. So the next team that I would probably give it to is Saiyans. Once again, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku is going to be very impactful here, right? Especially because he can fight right alongside the Zenkai Super Vegeta and the Angel Vegeta, right? This guy will be giving them both a Zenkai boost right here, especially if you have him fully Zenkai'd right here, which I do not. Only it's going to be up to 35% for the Zenkai buff overall. But I've seen so many cool setups with Saiyans right here, and I think that's the beauty of it, is that Saiyans have so much units that you can kind of just pick and choose whatever is like what's good in your box right here, right? So you can see I have kind of like this oddball team, but I can see this team working out really good. I think Kale, I kind of wanted to put the spotlight on Kale a little bit too, because even though she doesn't buff Saiyans necessarily, I feel like she's one of those sleeper units where she's just absolute dog water in PvP. But in a game mode like this, in ToP, that's where she really shows her worth, right? Because not only does she apply debuffs to the enemy, she has damage cut on her own, well, she has the damage cut, right? But she also has an indiscriminate cover change right here, meaning that she doesn't have any HP restrictions on it. Before receiving a strike arts attack, allies in range, performs the cover change, minus 20% to own damage received until opponent's attack ends, right? You can see it's to the left and to the right of her. And then also, once after she receives a strike or a blast arts attack, right, she restores health by 3%. That activates 2 times. That is phenomenal. 10% damage inflicted, and then 15 to key recovery. She needs the key recovery. I would have liked that to be a lot more, but I think overall she's still absolutely amazing. This Nappa is absolutely a sleeper unit as well. I think this Nappa is a sleeper unit in PvP and in ToP. Honestly, he's like one of those rare gems right here. Right, so he gets all of these buffs right here, and then he also puts a board-wide debuff on the enemy, and he also has the ability to restore some of the damage that he takes, right? Restores 10% of damage received up to 10% of his own health. And like I said before, there's just so many like filler units that you can use on this team right here, whatever you think is going to work best for you, right? You could even dip into S tier, and there's phenomenal units in S tier as well, right? Okay, like it's, for example, if you don't want to use this Vegeta right here that I have on the bench, take him off, put on Super Saiyan 4 Goku. This guy has an amazing kit. Boom, right there. You're already going to be heading into the right direction right here. If you don't want to use this green Goku right here, go ahead and throw on the Super Saiyan 3 Zenkai Goku if you have him. He has an amazing Z ability, and he's honestly pretty solid for this game mode overall as well. Like that's why I think Saiyans is very, very solid, especially for people just getting into the game mode, trying to just league up and stuff like that. Alright, so next up on the list, I do have LOE. So I think LOE might be the second best team in the game due to how good they synergize, and it definitely helps that their entire roster pretty much resides in Z tier, right? I think the biggest change right here, I think this team has literally become so popular that they're downgrading them just a little bit, right? You do see the full power Frieza move down into S tier. You do see the LF first form Frieza move down into S tier. These other Friezas kind of have been here. I think this guy actually got moved down to S tier as well, the free to play, the green Frieza, right? But either way, they're still so damn good, especially with the introduction of this revival Frieza, right? I think honestly, if I had this guy higher stars, this would be my best team. This would definitely be like my best team right here. I actually pulled this guy off a single a couple days ago. That's why you do see him just at level 1 right here. But the beauty about this team is that you can also, if you need filler units for this team, just grab some from the Frieza Force. That makes this team somewhat free to play friendly, right? With the pull force, so you can just go ahead and filter this out instead of having Lineage of Evil right here. You can just go ahead and filter this by Frieza Force. And then you'll see right here in the extremes, you'll see the pull force in Z tier as well. I am a big fan of this unit right here, specifically the Raberry. And you know, a pull is good too. Even this Ramon, I think, is honestly pretty decent as well. You honestly have a decent amount of options right here, especially considering the fact that this full power Frieza Zenkai is free. The Zenkai is free, right? The unit isn't free, but the Zenkai is free. Same thing with the Chilled right here. His Zenkai is also free. They have ridiculous amounts of key restore speed as well. We can go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Yeah, you see literally the LF Frieza sitting at 3,000 key restore speed. You see Chilled sitting at 2,700. That's really good. And I just want to go ahead and say that even if you don't have this Revival Frieza, because I know a lot of you are like, oh, well, I don't have a healer for this team. This team was completely runnable even before this guy came out. People were like in the top 100 with this team before this guy came out, right? I mean, the heals are definitely very nice, and he was a great addition to the team, but this team can still be ran without him. Alright, so next, for the final team I want to talk about is GT. Dude, if I wasn't running Regeneration, it would probably be a toss-up between GT and Lineage of Evil for real. And I probably am leaning a little bit more towards GT. GT is just one of those teams where you can repeatedly use the same units over and over each season and still have a great amount of success. Not really any updates on this team for this season in particular, but Zenkai Vegeta is in Z tier, right? If I remember correctly, I think he was in S tier last season. But I think this guy is absolutely solid, especially because of the fact, once again, he is a free-to-play Zenkai right here, right? And then he also, like, he applies debuffs and stuff like that. The only thing being is that his Z ability caters towards Saiyans and not GT as a whole. But his Zenkai ability does provide buffs for Yellow and Tag GT, which is why I usually will run 2 yellows on my GT team in the form of personally, I like Majub a lot. I know a lot of other people like this Nova Shenron more, which is fine by me too. I think he's actually phenomenal, but I only have him at 4 stars, so it just really depends where you're at in stars, I think, at that point in time, right? You also have a healer right here with Super Baby 2 just in case. I know a lot of people actually don't run the Super Baby 2 on their GT teams, but it just having him there as insurance, I think, is good, right? Because he has that heal where it's an unlimited heal. At the end of every single turn, you will restore health by 3% for Allied Tag GT as long as you're in range of those tiles specifically, right? And then you also boast some really good red units with this Kid Goku, who honestly, he can go down pretty easily, so I would say be careful with him. And then this Omega Shonen, who I just think is like one of the best reds in the game. I use him on all of my regeneration setups, essentially. Best in the game in terms of ToP, at least, right? And then the Super 17, good news for you guys, he's obtainable in the USTR shop right now. He was one of the most recent additions. I honestly want to go ahead and tell you guys, I don't want to get your guys' hopes up all the way, but even if you get him to Zenkai 1, I do believe that is viable territory, honestly. Even if you get him to Zenkai 1 right now, right? And you can easily do that because you can get 1,500 Zenkai power for him as of right now. Alright, as for tips and tricks, key restore speed, dude. You need that key restore speed. When you're looking for these units, especially if you're looking for filler units, I would highly suggest just filtering this by key restore speed. I say this every single season, but just make sure you guys are having the edge up. And transforming units are really good about this. This is why Legends Limited Piccolo is so good, because you can see right here, free transformed, it's nothing special, right? It's just 2,511. But after transformation, it drastically shoots up to 2,763. These are the units you need to burst through units like the Goten, right? The transforming Goten, who does get his super attack on turn 2. These are the kinds of units you need, especially if you go against a lot of Bootanks fights, in which you're going to want to attack before Bootanks gets his guaranteed blue card on turn 1, right? You need it. And I would say one of the easiest ways to actually build up your key restore speed on a specific unit is getting your friendship rank up, right? You can see my Piccolo is at rank 10, so you can see his key restore speed is at 2,511 right now. That's at friendship rank 10. That's basically the soft cap, or actually no, that's the hard cap actually. But if you look at his regular stats, not the ToP stats, it drops all the way down to 2,392. That is a massive difference, right? And that's the difference that friendship rank does provide for you, right? Because the friendship rank, it does have a purpose. It does give you extra stats specifically within the ToP game mode. That's why you see it right here. So once again, as per every season, I will still go ahead and just drill it into your guys' heads, is that Goten and Gohan still rule the board. I do advise just targeting Goten first and then targeting this Gohan, right? Because no matter what you do, unless you have a unit that actually cancels his buff effects, this Gohan will take all that damage from turn 1, right? And then immediately after that, you got to be really cautious about this Kaioken Goku, because he can also generate a super attack, right? This is where having that key restore speed really comes in clutch, because both this Goten and this Kaioken Goku have extremely high key restore speeds. And then a team like this has 2 healers on it, right? So they had 2 healers, Red 18 and this Cooler Movie Goku. So the Cooler Movie Goku is actually a little bit easier to deal with. I know a lot of people, after getting rid of the main threats being this Goten, this Gohan, and Kaioken Goku, is they'll take out the Android 18, and then they'll save this Cooler Movie Goku for last, because he will only heal if and only if you attack him, right? So if you attack him at the very end, he has no one heal. So another difficult fight this season is definitely going to be against LOE. So with LOE, I think the biggest issue here is that sparking Frieza, right? The full power Frieza, the sparking full power Frieza is what I meant to say right here, because he will get a guaranteed blue if you use a blast against him. So I would say just try to save your supers for this fight in particular, or you're going to have to change your units to strike base, and it's very easy to do that. So all you got to do is say, like, click on your character right here. I'm clicking on Piccolo. Tap on the little blast icon, tap on the strike, and there you go. Now he is set to strike right here. I'm gonna go ahead and switch it back because that's not what I want. But going back to this fight right here, I think after that you're free to go ahead and attack in whatever order you want. I personally like to go after this Frieza first, because he has a board wide cover change. He's usually my first target right here, and then I always, no matter what revival unit it is, I always take out the revival unit at the very end, because they're for the most part, they're really tanky, right? So I'll go ahead and save them for the end, because for the most part, I had to finish them off with the rush. All right, so that being said, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for Season 24 of ToP right here. Right, hopefully it does help out some of you guys, because I just want everyone to enjoy that juicy top 1000 CC. So that being said, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, definitely let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys leave a like and maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Later!